Good morning, Richa. Nilanjan sir is there, so you can go ahead.
Good morning, everyone, dear researcher and invited guests. It's my great pleasure to welcome you the 5th International Conference on Information and Communication Technology for Competitive Strategy ICTCS 2020 virtually on Zoom. We all have been striving hard to fight against the pandemic COVID-19, and now currently we are already in a second wave of it. We at ICTCS 2020 wish you and your family a very happy and healthy life ahead. Kindly request to take necessary precaution for your own safety to overcome this phase as well. We at Global Knowledge Research Foundation are thankful to our all guests for being a part of this virtual conference for making it successful as the previous ones. Hope you will be enjoying the 2 days of interactive sessions. Now I would like to invite our session chair, Nilanjan De. He is an associate professor in the Department of Computer Science and Engineering, JIS University, Kolkata, India. He has an author, editor, and a more than 85 book with elsewhere, Ville CRC Press and Learn and Springer, and published many more 300 papers. His main research interests include medical imaging, machine learning, computer-aided diagnosis, as well as data mining. Dear sir, I welcome you. Now I would want you to take this session and continue this further.
Very good morning to all of you. Thank you, Richa. Thanks for the introduction. So please go through. I mean,
now I would like to invite our first presenter. It's Nandini.
Okay.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Nandini. My paper is about an architectural review of cyber-physical system. I'm from VIT University, Vellore Institute of Technology. This is a brief abstract. Today, I'm going to talk about the cyber-physical system as next industrial revolution and architectural analysis and design of the cyber-physical system, the challenges of the cyber-physical system from architectural point of view, an architectural survey only from manufacturing and industrial revolution perspective, and applications of cyber-physical system. Cyber-physical systems are the systems that link physical world such as sensors and actuators with virtual world of information processing. These constituents include software systems, communication technology, and sensors that interact with real world. Here, the cyber physical system observe the physical world. They process the data. They process the data by system in 1 second. They process the data by the system, and the decisions influence and alter the physical world. Recent research focus in the cyber physical system is the design optimization problems when physical environment and the computational elements combine and interact with each other. Here, these are cyber physical systems have characteristics of their own, even though the relevance of CPS is predetermined as the composition of computational network resources with multiple systems in the industry. These are some of the cyber physical system characteristics. They are cyber physical capability in every physical component, network at multiple and extreme scales, multiple spatial temporal constraints, unconventional computing, physical substrates. These have high degree of automation and dynamic recognizing. Cyber physical system architecture can be divided into two types: the earlier architecture and the architecture which we are using now. The earlier architecture is a two-tier architecture which has two parts: the physical part and the computational part. In physical part, it senses the physical environment, collects data, and then it executes the decisions made by the computational part. Whereas in computational part, based on the data collected, it processes the data collected, and then it evaluates a decision. It makes a decision by evaluating. The architecture now we are using is a three-tier architecture where it has environment tier, service tier, and control tier. In environment tier, it constitutes of physical devices and real-time environment, which encompasses target users in the real-time environment. Service tier, it is a service-oriented service-oriented computing, where cloud computing and SOA services are provided. The control tier processes the collected data from the sensors. It makes decisions. It finds services for the framework, and then let the changes invoke in the physical process. These are the challenges of cyber physical system. Cyber physical systems development and design is posed from the fundamental distinction to identify between physical and the cyber processes. This can be divided into two types, where the challenges posed from the cyber physical part and then the challenges posed from the cyber part. From the physical part, the safety and reliability requirements are main challenges, whereas cyber components pose security challenges. Likewise, the specific challenges can be pattern abstraction, scale and efficiency, robustness, and security. The architectural review of these are the architecture survey. These are the 5 architectures mainly used in industrial point of view. They are five component architecture of CPS, 8C architecture of CPS, ACPS architecture, SOA architecture, and 3C architecture. The first one is 5 component architecture of CPS. Here we have 5 levels which can be termed as 5 components. The first level is the connection level. This acquires data from this acquires accurate and reliable data from the mission and their path. The next one is the conversion level, where data to information conversion is done. The third level is the cyber level. By using the data acquired from the below levels, these processes the information. The fourth level is the cognition level. Here the decision making is done by using analytic information. The fifth one is the configuration level, where all the process information is provided to the physical world and the response is taken from the physical world. This is 8C architecture. 8C architecture can be termed as the evolution of 5C architecture, where all the first 5 architectures remain same as the 5C architecture and 3 more are added to it. The first one is the correlation. This aspect focuses between the integration between different parties in terms of production process. The second one is the customer. This mainly tells the characteristics of a customer in the production process. The third one is the content. This focuses on extracting, sorting, and inquiring information. The third architecture is ACPS architecture. ACPS stands for anthropocentric cyber physical system. Here, highest level abstraction is provided to this model. This has 3 parts. These are 3 components: physical component, cyber component, and human component. These are integrated together. Here, service-oriented architecture, semantic web, and human interaction machine are applied to this reference model. Here, the human machine interface embeds into the device. The fourth architecture is SOA architecture. Software component technology is used to integrate loosely coupled services into a workflow in real time. Here, the workflow comes in the following way. This has 4 tiers. Perceived tier. The perceived tier collects the data from sensors and is done for pre-processing. The data tier, data processing techniques, storage devices, computation parts are present in this layer, where normalization, noise detection, data storage, or some parts of data processing technique used. The service tier, these provide typical functions such as APIs to the consumers, decision making, task analysis, and task schedule. The fourth one is the execution tier. All the decisions made are executed in the physical environment in this tier. The fifth one is the security assurance, which is common for all the tier and is applied to all the tier. The next one is the 3C architecture. 3C architectures are mostly used in smart manufacturing. These adopts the ACPS architecture. Again, it has all the 3 components same from the ACPS architecture. They are human component, cyber component, and physical component. In addition to this, it also adopts the sub-elements of the ACPS architecture. It has interfacing parameters such as connectors and protocols. Applications of CPS. CPS has very vast application. Some of the applications are energy management, future defense system, aircraft control, medical devices, intelligent manufacturing, battlefield surveillance. But these are the 4 applications which are majorly used: agriculture, energy management, environmental controlling, monitoring, smart industry. Agriculture. Here, CPS can be applied in food distribution, food production and consumption, precision in agriculture, and smart water management. It can be told which is the best environment for which part of the crops, and then a control approach is proposed where the agricultural proactivity, environment, and market changes are taken into account. food supply gap can be tackled by using cyber physical system. The next one is energy management. Here, efficiency to adapt an optimal power generation, consumption and distribution can be termed as electrical power grid and smart grid. This is next generation of the smart grid cyber physical system. Applying cyber physical system to smart grid can be termed as next generation. Autonomous electric vehicle in smart grid and charging stations can be applied, can be termed as main applications. Environmental monitoring. Here, environmental conditions in remote locations can be monitored by using cyber physical systems. A direct solution is proposed for this. The next one is the interaction between the environment and its surroundings within the defined physical boundaries. Smart manufacturing. A cyber physical system can be termed as next industrial revolution, or industry, and can also be told as industry 4.0. It connects the real-time environment with automatic decisions and take appropriate decisions. Here, CPS can be applied in such areas like product design, logistics, maintenance, and exploration. Concluding this, cyber physical system can be termed as the integration of computation and physical processes. The integration of computation, control, and communication and control devices give new capabilities.
Dear presenter, sorry for interruption. You have last 2 minutes. Please conclude your presentation.
I'm in the conclusion part. It provides new capabilities to being able to interact with the physical world. It is very important to analyze today's computing and networking technologies and verify if it provides sufficient foundation for the future research. Thank you.
Okay. Nice presentation, Nandini. I have only 2 queries. When you will say this particular architecture is very robust means in terms of what?
Robust in terms of it is very dynamic actually. When you use in the smart manufacturing, it is very robust.
No, suppose I am talking about one CPS, and this CPS this architecture is robust. So what are the parameters I will measure? Means to assess the robustness of a system, CPS. What are the
reliability can be termed as a main factor for robustness.
So reliability is a different thing. Robustness is a different thing.
Yeah.
Reliability is different thing.
Yes, when it comes to architecture, we can say reliability is a main factor.
Programmability, observability, and computationability. So in terms of these 3 factors, mainly. But the thing is, which architecture you think the most robust one? Among
CC architecture.
Why?
Because it is the architecture that is recently proposed and can be used in smart manufacturing without any modifications.
So it's only used for the mass manufacturing, that's why.
Yeah, this is from manufacturing perspective.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Now I would like to invite our next presenter, Mr. Ramesh.
Yeah, madam, I'm Professor Ramesh. My audio and video, audio, can you unmute it, please?
Okay.
It's working fine, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Both are working fine.
Thank you, sir. 1 minute, sir. I'm sharing. Sir, kindly confirm if my PPT is visible, sir.
Perfect. Perfect.
Thank you, sir.
Just make it zoom.
I'm zooming, sir. Right. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me great pleasure to introduce my topic and go through some relevant factors of intelligent control using ICT of a biogas plant. Actually, what motivated us to take up this is there are 600 universities with large canteens and huge wastage being generated. But the control engineers who are very critical to monitor the quality of input and the quality of output, they are very limited because they are all teaching staff, they are professors, they are assistant professors, etc. Control engineers are very limited. Now, is there a way we can control several biogas plants using this ICT based and intelligent control is the topic of this discussion. I'm grateful for people who are giving me this, for the conference people who are giving me this chance. So biogas using kitchen waste as raw material. Each major university produces about 500 kgs to 1 ton of kitchen waste if they have 1 or 2 canteens. Majority of them have got canteen. And main constituent of this is methane gas. And digestion is anaerobic by bacteria. Anaerobic, I mean, it is devoid of any oxygen. You have to ensure. If there is oxygen, there won't be a criteria at all. Efficiency of plant depends on persistent and efficient multiplication of bacteria. These are good bacteria. Actually, we find many of the plants closing down after 4 or 5 months of installation. It's because they have not ensured, not enough study has been done on kitchen waste, how to manipulate this bacteria so that good will come out of it. This paper precisely aims at that factor. Now, our design factor should clearly take care of multiplication of bacteria. In that, we want to leverage ICT technology because, as I told you, like company like BARC or college like mine, engineering college, supervisors are very few who are intelligent, but I have no problem in operating several plants with one supervisor and following skilled worker. This supervisor gives his analysis based on inputs online and then carries out the analysis himself and then feeds action-oriented plan to several of the plants at site. So this may be, this way we can ensure plants run beyond 6 months, beyond forever. Actually, I'm happy to say since 2013, our plant is working to the great satisfaction of all stakeholders, including every day it churns out 60 kgs of biogas and 22 kgs of bio-CNG if required. This is the experiment we want to propagate others to also benefit out of that. It is based through measured actions after quantitative assessment of inputs and environmental factors inside the plant. Okay, all factors that affect multiplication of good bacteria are factored in and suitable actions are generated by the control engineer through use of ICT technology. One control engineer can remotely monitor several sites. The local on-site actions and input-output parameters are shared with the control engineer on day-to-day basis to unskilled labor. The control engineer intervenes after a careful analysis of data received on any plant. Now, what is the motto of this paper is to understand bacteria and what is good for them. Let's see what is life cycle, growth factor, type of bacteria, design of the plant, modes of operation, and UCT, ICT technology. Kindly see, sir, here the bacteria cycle is such a way that first 2 hours, there very little bacteria will be produced, first few hours. But after 5 to 10 hours, maximum logarithmic scale it will produce. Then it becomes a slight curve on top, and then slowly from 15 to 24 hours to 30 hours, the entire bacteria will die. If you study this graph, it will tell you the entire design philosophy of your plant. For example, you should make sure that every day feed such a way that after cooling in time inside these tanks, every day you have sufficient feed for bacteria to thrive for 24 hours, 19 to 24 hours. How it is done? Let's see, sir. If growth factors are not looked after, it is evident from the last slide that bacteria will die away as their lifetime is less than 48 hours. We must find a method to continuously keep the bacteria. Old bacteria go away, new bacteria comes into the play. The population of bacteria in the plant has to match the input of raw material. Whatever raw material you are putting in, the population of bacteria should match. It should not overshoot, it should not undershoot. Now, this adjustment would also require time of the order of days. Hence, too much variation in the input quantity from day to day is harmful to the plant. It's not that you got 200 tons from municipality and then you can feed. No, it's not that way. A plant is designed for a particular input load. It should be every day that input should be loaded. It's not that 30 days ke baad you go on a holiday and then come back and set the plant. It's no. It's something like our stomach. It will continually ask for input, and we have a system to be developed to suit it for this. Oxygen availability nil. Temperature is 25 to 45 degrees. This is where nature has been kind to India that perfectly fits Indian subcontinent. pH level should be 5 to 8. Osmosis facilitation, this is how the waste is transferred by good bacteria into methane. And 5 to 7% is the optimum. And energy source and nutrition, no external supply is used. You will be surprised to see that very many things are nature has provided. Here, without power, you can use gravity phenomena to produce eternal power. Okay, beautiful. We'll see how it works. Oxygen supply is toxic here, and so it needs to be leak-proof. So how it is ensured? We have a tank, water, and gas and environment is separated by thick water layer. So oxygen is sealed. Temperature requirement suits us. pH and salt concentrations are affected by the solid composition of mass to water. That means your pH level can be controlled by correctly adding water level. Now there are ways to find out what is the water level you add. Like even in our Indian system, they say that drink 2 glasses of water, don't drink immediately after food, drink after half an hour. All these are similar to our argument here.
Sorry for interrupt, dear presenter. Here we have time limit, so please conclude your presentation. You have last 2 minutes.
Yes, ma'am. These are the type of, give me 2 minutes, ma'am. These are the type of bacteria, and these are the ones which are there in the human body. Like it can use sulfur or cabbage, etc., vegetables, and it can, ratio is 1:1. This we found out by actually physically testing the plant. Like for example, bacteria is nothing new to us. It is a living organism. We must know, actually, if you have a harmful of bacteria, it will cause damage. Otherwise, it will do good. Now, this is safeguarding bacteria. All conditions above. This is mixer, shredder, pre-digester, balance tank, etc. This is the diagram. Only one thing. Kindly see, the piping shown here is purely gravity-based. I got design parameters. If some university, some education is interested, unit is interested, I can pass up this as to them. How they can select. This is actual diagram of what we have selected. Can you see the pre-digester? Can you see the balance tank? After balance tank, this is the thing. This is about 200 tons of solid tank. Niche you can see water separation, and inside this thing it will be biogas. So you can see, like if you have a healthy and excess meal, like your tummy bloats, this tank also suddenly it will come out. You can see bacteria at work. Now this is actually the work at work. Over, ma'am, another 2 minutes. This you can see actually the biogas working in canteen. Okay. Like that, total 11 chulas have been put and 3 canteens have been identified. In addition to that, electricity produced generates lights in the night and whole lot of haryali. God has given everything, and we must find out how to best to use it. Finally, CO2 and H2S, part of the biogas. You got to purify them. We have used simple own designed CO2 and H2S purifications. Methane gas is nearly 10 times more potent than LPG gas. So why not we use all this? This is your ICT technology. There's nothing from there. Parameters will come. I shown you one instrument. It has got connectivity. From connectivity, you will get all. This is for ICT. This is how we control. There are two runs: experimental run, decide water ratio, and operational run. Option 1, option 2. Now, finally, we'll say application of ICT helps us to manipulate several plants at a time. And also, ICT will help us to better control with one engineer and several of the plantsmen. Finally, there are 600 universities, sir. And if each one of us contribute in this fashion, what good it will come to the humanity. I am contributed. I want to give my thanks to president of my former unit, Dr. Vijay Patel, who has unblinkingly sanctioned about 20 lakhs without asking questions, and he believed that nature can bless all of us. Similarly, another individual, Anand Vasapnora, who has given and who was behind us, given the designs. Third part is BRC. BRC solved a lot of our day-to-day problems. I'm thankful to all of them, and I'm grateful for the conference planners to have given me this time and attention.
Thank you very much. Nice presentation, sir. Sir, I have only two comments, not from your work regarding the paper. One is in the title, there is a word best, ICT best. So make the B small because for Springer, they generally take care of these things. So they will come back you with this small things.
Thank you, sir.
Conjunction. And second thing is, sir, ICT is a broader term. So next time, I mean, if possible, try to make it a narrow scope because ICT covers a whole lot of stuffs. So, I mean, from ICT, the second should not be optimization because in the diagram, whatever you have shown in the left-hand side, it was ICT, then optimization. So in between, there are lots of intermediate steps. So try to make the scope a narrow scope one.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Very kind of you, sir. Thanks for giving me opportunity.
Thank you.
Thank you. Kind of you.
Now we can call our next presenter, Chetan.
Sir, my screen is visible. Hello.
Yes, perfect. Just
okay.
Make it zoom.
Okay. Good morning to everyone. Myself Chetan Gondalia. Today I'm going to present my research article based on price prediction with sectorial effect on stock market due to COVID-19. This is my outline of this presentation. As we know that COVID-19 pandemic have affected the most of sector in India, that might be some sector will be rise and some sector will be fall. So in this study, we have focused on the stock market effect of COVID-19 pandemic duration, that how stock market will move up or downside for this duration for COVID-19 pandemic. For that, we have taken three sectors: IT, then pharmaceutical and infrastructure. Based on that sector, we have identified that how that particular technical event or any event will arise in the country, then how it will affect on the stock market. And for that study, we have taken a data for the duration of January 2020 to August 2020. And after this, we have utilized the ROI for mentioned period and also forecast the future price of the selected stock and sectorial effect will come on the different sector. In literature survey, we have reviewed a different event which have arisen in the country like corona pandemic duration and democratization and any government policy like long-term capital gain tax and different study, and how that different study will affect on the different sector of the share market. So based on literature survey of different technical events, we can say that there is some effect on a different sector that might be in a demonetization. If we talk about demonetization event or occur, they will affect on the mostly case-based transaction sector, and might be happen that some sector will be rise based on the event and some sector will be fall based on the events. And this is our model for our study, that we have fetched the data from online sources like BSC India, and from that we have fetched the OHLC data like open, close, high, and volume weighted price, volume, daily traded volume, and all the detail for given duration. Then we have applied a different forecasting technique like linear regression and XGBoost. After that, we can predict the price forecasting and sector refer, that how that event or any duration, pandemic duration will affect the particular sector on a down or upside. So for that, we have we have taken three sector, as I told you, that IT, pharma, and infrastructure, and in each of sector we have taken a two equity stock for the study purpose. And this is a method that linear regression first technique we have used. It is a prevalent machine learning algorithm for supervising learning, where we can say that we have one independent variable and dependent variable. It is used for continuous data. Second method we have used is XGBoost, which is mainly two type of two type in XGBoost. First one is SG regression and XGBoost classification. This is advanced technique where it will add the all the extra gradient boost technique and have a different tree map in their regression and classification model. So for that we have using this XGBoost, and this is our result for the our different technique in different sector. Like in pharma sector, we have taken Cipla and Sun Pharma stock. We have taken this randomly. There is no any mechanism for selecting these stocks. And for IT, we have taken Infosys and TCS. And for infrastructure, we have taken DLF and Godrej. So from that result, this is our R2 score and error rate. And this is a graph of linear regression for Cipla, then DLF and Infosys. So from that graph, we can say that linear regression is not as much good for producing this type of continuous forecasting data. And finally, in conclusion, we can say that after based on result, we can say that XGBoost is a produce a good result for future price prediction, and IT and pharma sector will rise in this COVID-19 pandemic duration, and infrastructure sector we have a reverse effect, will downside. And by comparing the result, we can say that XGBoost regression give a more accurate result. And for future future work, we can say that if we can add a sentiment like that, once this type of technical event will arise, lots of people are express their views on social media sites like Twitter, then Money Control Forum, and there are lots of forum sites there. So if we can understand this sentiment, that how people are saying about this event, and if there is a news is coming for any government policy, then there is some huge people are expressing their views on a social media site. So we can capture these views, and if we can identify that there is a positive sentiment for that particular sector, then we can input that parameter in our model for better prediction model. This is from my side. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. What kind of data cleaning process you used?
Sir, for data, I think in BSc there is a data will come absolutely correct because the data is coming from NSE and this is a numeric, and we have to convert the data in a scale. So for that we have to use a different scaling technique.
Scaled it. You have normalized the data or non-normalized?
No, sir.
No normalized. Means it's the data, whatever the data you have taken, it's all raw data. Means there is no
raw data, numeric data.
There is no chance of presence of noise. The data should not be any. There should not be any noise.
It might be have noise, sir. But I have not.
For normalization, once you work with the stock market data, as it is a time series data, I suppose. So that's why the data cleaning process is an important part. So might be that's why the linear regression result is not that much good. It might, seems to me. Anyway, and any other apart from these two technique, any other technique you use like ARIMA or something like this for the prediction?
No, sir. For this study, I have not used, sir.
Only for the okay, fine.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank
you. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now we can call our next presenter, Happy Shah.
Hello, is it visible?
Yes, Happy, please go ahead.
Yeah, so good morning and very warm welcome to everyone. Myself, Happy Shah. Along with me, the other teammates are Khushali Joshi, Nirali Solanki, and Shreya Vyas. Our research project is based on induction heating using three-phase variable frequency converter. These are the topics that I would like to discuss today. So first of all, let us understand what is induction heating. It is a process in which metal that is usually object is heated by the principle of electromagnetic induction. In this heating, the heat is developed in the object itself by eddy current, which are set up by the electromagnetic forces, that is EMF. This eddy current, when flows through the object or through the resistance of the material, it produces the heat by the using the principle of Joule heating. So by this, we can say that the principle of induction heating is somehow based on that of transformer, as both uses the principle of magnetic induction or mutual induction. This is the basic block diagram of our system. First of all, three-phase supply is given to a three-phase uncontrolled rectifier, which converts three-phase AC power into DC power. This DC power is then now fed to three-phase inverter, which converts the DC power into a three-phase variable frequency, variable voltage AC supply. In control circuit, we have used 8051 microcontroller, which generates gate pulses at 1 kilohertz frequency and triggers the switches of three-phase inverter. The inverter output is then fed to three-phase work coil based induction furnace, that is our induction motor. Now, there must be a question that why we have used three-phase supply instead of conventional single-phase AC supply. So the answer lies in this figure, that as shown in figure, in single-phase AC supply, there is zero instantaneous power throughout the whole cycle, that is in period between 0 to 360 degree. Whereas in three-phase AC supply, there is no zero instantaneous power throughout the whole cycle from period between 0 to 360 degree. So this results in smoother and faster operation, less time for melting, less consumption of power, and it also acts as a clean and efficient process. Apart from these two advantages, we also get the steering action and melting action in single furnace only. The last but not the least is that we can control the speed of induction motor by maintaining the V/F ratio constant, and by this we can control the heating of metal at according to our desired temperature. Now this three-phase supply is then given to rectifier, which is used for rectification purpose. The rectifier converts the three-phase AC supply into DC supply. For this, we have used three-phase 12-pulse uncontrolled converter. This AC supply then this DC supply is then now fed to inverter, which converts the DC power fixed DC supply into variable voltage, variable frequency AC supply. The variable frequency is done by the microcontroller, in which the necessary gate pulses are generated at frequency of 1 kilohertz. The microcontroller is a 8-bit family which contains a RAM of 128 bits, 4 ports, 2 timers, 4K bits of ROM, and 8-bit stack pointer. These are the gate pulses of microcontroller, which are produced at a delay of 10 milliseconds. That is T on time. Between T on time and T off time, there is a delay of 10 milliseconds. And between the two gate pulses, there is a delay of 30 degrees. That is as shown. First gate pulse is starting from 0. So second gate pulse will start at a 30 degree. The third gate pulses will start at a 60 degree. And according to that, the 6 gate pulses are generated at required delay. Now, the adopted topology that we have used compared to the single phase work coil. In this system, we have used 3-phase work coil, which produces the RMF when passes through the 3-phase winding. This RMF, when links with the object, produces the induced EMF, which is also called as electromotive force, according to Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction. Now, when this EMF links with the object, it acts as a closed circuit. So there is a closed path and it generates the current, which is also called as a circulating current or eddy current. Basically, these currents are only responsible for generating the heat in the induction heating, and this also produces the electromagnetic forces so that we can get the steering action which is required for obtaining the uniform quality of metal. From this figure, we can get idea that how the steering action and the electromagnetic forces are generated. These are the RMFs which are generated when a 3-phase supply passes through the winding. In place of rotor, we can assume that here we have the workpiece, that is crucible. This is the induced current in the crucible, which links with the RMF. And these are the forces which are generated when the crucible current is when crucible current opposes the RMF. And according to that, we can get the steering action in the metal and the melting takes place. This is the adopted system, that is 3-phase work coil, in which a crucible is placed, and in crucible we add the metal for melting. We have used the aluminum at a temperature of 660 degrees Celsius. This is the circuit diagram of our system, that as shown, the 5-volt AC supply is given to microcontroller VCC pin. The ground pin of microcontroller is connected with the ground port. The ports of microcontroller, that is port 0 pin, is used for generating the gate pulses. The output of microcontroller is then fed to the opto-isolator circuit. Now the isolation circuit is used to protect the microcontroller from the high voltage surges which are generated by the power circuit, so that our microcontroller can be protected from the power circuit. For isolation circuit in software, we have used opto-isolator, whereas in hardware, we have used IC2130. The output of isolator circuit is then given to inverter, which converts the DC power into 3-phase variable AC supply. The switches of inverter are triggered according to the output of microcontroller, and it generates the desired waveform which is necessary for induction heating. The output of inverter decides the frequency. So we have generated gate pulses of 1 kilohertz frequency, and according to that, the inverter switches are triggered. These are the waveform of phase voltages at a magnitude of Vs and Vs by 3 and 2 Vs by 3. These are the waveform of phase voltage in CRO, that is controlled cathode ray oscilloscope. These are the waveform of line voltages at Vs and minus Vs. Again, line voltages in CRO. This is the steering action that we have done at 50 Hz frequency, and from that we have gone through 1 kilohertz frequency. can play that video, right, sir?
Fine.
This is our graphite crucible, and around that we have used a thick layer of thermal insulation to protect the three-phase work coil from the heat which is developed by the induction heating. So from the above discussion, we can conclude that this method results in cost effective. It takes less time than the other types of heating, mainly from the single phase supply that we used in induction heating. There is a natural stirring and melting in single unit. It is a cleaner melting, that is, it does not require any filler metal, or there is no production of byproduct dust or smoke. It has a compact installation. There is a energy conservation as the frequency is 1 kilohertz, so that the losses are produced at a rate of three multiples of 3. So the energy conservation so there is a energy conservation. The scrap is reduced or eliminated by the use of precise controls. The temperature can be accurately controlled by maintaining the V/F ratio constant, and according to that we can heat the metal at our desired temperature. Apart from this induction heating can be used in applications such as annealing or bracing, that is to reduce the hardness of the material and to make it soft, or to joint the two metals by using the filler metal. Questions will be highly welcomed.
How you measure the performance?
Performance of
This proposed model, this entire system?
Yes, sir. We have used three-phase supply. So, as the losses will be P is equal to 3 into I square R losses. So the heating will be beneficial than the using single-phase supply. That is, in single-phase supply, the losses will be less. So the time taken for heating will be more.
So can you tell me one limitation of your system?
Limitation of system, that is, we cannot heat. we cannot hit the metals which are very hard, or we cannot add two metals at simultaneously. That is for making alloys.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Now we can call our next presenter, Shrikar.
Hello. Sir, is my screen visible?
Yeah. No, it's. Can you make it zoom?
Yes, sir. Sure. Good morning to one and all present here. I'm Shrikar, pursuing engineering at BINM Institute of Technology. This research wouldn't have been a success without two of my friends, Sampreet and Samant N. I'm here to present our paper titled as Efficient Drip Irrigation System using Soil Moisture Sensor with IoT Sync to Web Server. These are the gist of the topics I'll be focusing through my talk. Hope you do get an idea of what a motive is. Introduction. A slight introduction before jumping into the main topic, which will focus on a motive of a study. Farmers are the backbone of a country, without whom the country would have been a barren land. As we all know, a major water crisis has been gripping around the country, and to solve this is our major motive. Every farmer wishes to bring out the best yield out of the crop, and water plays a major role in this. This research aims to maximize efficiency of water usage. But how can this be done? Using methods of drip irrigation and monitoring the water consumption. Measurement concept of soil moisture sensor. Soil moisture sensor is a device which gives out analog outputs, and the value varies between 0 to 1023. This soil moisture sensor calculates the active value of the soil moisture value, and this is compared to the input crop value, which then is sent to the Arduino or the microcontroller, which regulates the water flow through the valve. What's different? This setup is synced to the web server using IoT. In the modern digital world, transfer of information is the key. Accessibility to the internet has been very common in the coming days. The required soil moisture sensor value is sent to the microprocessor through the web server hosted on the microprocessor or the Raspberry Pi. The block diagram. The user inputs the required value from the cloud web server, and this web server is hosted on the Raspberry Pi, which is then sent to the ATmega Arduino 2560 controller through serial communication. The PIR sensor or the motion sensor helps in monitoring the field or any motion that is taking place in the field, and if there is any motion, LED is triggered. The temperature and humidity sensor is used to regulate the amount of excess water required. That is, if the temperature and the humidity is high at a certain point, then we add 30% to 40% more water from what is required, or which is the threshold value. The soil moisture sensor senses the active value, and the valve is regulated by the servo motor. Signal conditioning circuits. The HTML input is a wireless input which is given to the microprocessor from the user. This data is transferred through serial communication to the Arduino ATmega 2560. Soil moisture sensor is the only analog input which is connected to the microcontroller. On the other hand, servo motor, motion sensor, and DHT11 are all digital inputs. LED, being an output, is also a digital pin. This is general workflow of our setup. Input is taken from the web server. This is then transferred and printed on the terminal, which then is serially communicated to the Arduino. Once this is done, the data is converted to integer to make work easier, and then the sensor value is compared to the input data. If the value is greater, that is, in soil moisture sensor, the higher the value, the drier is the soil. So if the value is greater, servo turns 90 degrees, that is, it opens the valve. If the value is lesser, the servo remains the same, that is, the valve is not opened. Then the motion sensor or the PIR sensor checks for movement. If the motion is detected, light system is triggered, else it forms a loop and goes to the start. Web server and IoT concepts. We use WebSockets for real-time communication between the web server and the user. This is the only interface which is available for the user, and there is no other interaction between the user and the system. The bidirectional communication is established using WebSockets, which logs the information obtained from the web server to the terminal. These are some results obtained from our setup. The motion detection. The LED doesn't blink if there is no motion detection. That is, the LED is off. Once motion is detected, LED is on. The soil moisture sensor is taken out. That is, this is basically dry. That is, the soil moisture value is 1023. That is the highest value, and therefore ripples occur. Whereas on the other hand, when the soil moisture sensor is dipped into the soil, that is, there is some active value, ripples disappear. This is our web page design for the interface between the user and the setup. Results 2. This is the microprocessor screen or the Raspberry Pi screen. 1023 is the active value obtained from the soil moisture sensor. And the web server loads. You can see the socket is connected successfully, hence the web server loads. 542 is the value which we have obtained from the user. And this is the microcontroller screen. I apologize for lesser visibility of the microcontroller screen, but it shows the active state of the valve. This is output after detection. Thank you.
Shikhar, can you go to the slide number 6?
Yes, sir.
Make it zoom.
Yes, sir. This is.
How you have set this threshold value?
Sir, we calculated the annual consumption of water. That is, we took around 25 crops which are prevailing in India, and we took their annual water consumption, and then we were able to convert this annual consumption. We could calibrate it to the value, that is 0 to 1023. We took the scale from between 1 to 10 and then calibrated it between 0 to 1023.
So you have taken samples from hilly area and almost all different areas.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All types of soil. We have taken 8 different soils and 25 prevailing crops.
So it's not adaptive. It's a completely manual kind of. Correct. So you have taken an average of 28 or 30 different cases.
Yes, sir. We have sampled 25 crops, ranging from rice to tea.
Because this is one limitation. It should not be adaptive, because if you want to go for other region, might be that will be different completely. Okay, fine. And another thing is this arrow which you have drawn in this block diagram.
Yes, sir.
These are basically called medical arrow.
Okay.
So the arrow, once you use, be careful about selecting the arrow, because there are different meanings of different arrows.
Okay, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Now we can call our next presenter, Amla.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, fine. Please continue.
Can I start my presentation?
Please.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Amala Sibi. I'll be presenting my paper titled Influence of Customer Relationship Management for the Success of E-Business, co-authored with Dr. Josie P. George. This will be the outline of my presentation, starting with abstract, introduction, objective of the study, literature review, methodology, integrated CRM components, process-oriented model for CRM, benefits of CRM, current issues and future trends, successful CRM implementation framework, results and conclusion, and references. Abstract. Organizations have realized the importance of customer satisfaction, and they are trying to integrate their operations with that of customer relationship to serve the customers in a very better way. The paper seeks to understand the importance of CRM in e-business with the help of relationship marketing. The research is done by referring to the previous studies, that is, it has been a purely research review, literature review paper, and it has been undertaken to find out the contribution which CRM has compassed in the growth of business organization. Introduction. The increasing competition and decreasing customer loyalty have been the new era when it comes to marketing and with regarding to any business. And hence, implementation of new tools has been a very priority for every business. And thus, CRM comes into picture. CRM, it's a combination of business strategies, software and processes, which helps to build long-lasting relationship between the companies and their customers. It includes strategies, techniques, tools, and technologies used by enterprises for developing and retaining, as well as for acquiring customers in a very loyal manner. For any business, customers are the primary reason for their very existence. So dealing with customers in the best way and customization is a new trend in the market. Factors which can influence customer relationship is the way organization approaches its customers, and the kind of services which they offer in turn reflects to the success of e-business. CRM helps in building customer loyalty, which is a very essential market, which is very essential in the current market with a lot of competition which businesses are facing. The objective of the study. The study is focused to gain a better understanding of CRM and the success of e-business. The research delved into and describe as well as explain how CRM objectives are defined, managed, and measured, as well as evaluated for the success of e-business. The literature review has been done for around 400 articles, and the entire literature review can be classified into the 5 headings: e-business and CRM, e-commerce opportunities and challenges using CRM software, successful CRM system implementations, the relationship marketing, customer relationship management, and the customer behavior. So these are the classifications of the entire literature review that has been done. The methodology, extensive literature survey has been done to find out the impact of CRM onto the success of e-business. The CRM, the customer relationship management software, can be integrated into 3 major categories, which is people, technology, and business process. So when we talk about people, it includes customers as well as the employees of the organization, who should be well equipped in order to have CRM software, in order to work with CRM software within the organization. Then technology, the technology behind the implementation of CRM, and the business process, all the business process which needs to be integrated along with the CRM in order to give out the best results for the business. The process-oriented model for CRM is as follows. So the goals which business possess with regarding to the introduction of information and communication technology into the business, and the best practices, the best CRM practices that needs to be implemented into the business. Then the value creation which CRM provides to the business. And after that, systems needs to be integrated for the best value chain, and which will in turn lead to the firm performance or the successful performance of a firm. The benefits which CRM provides to a business includes effective target marketing. So when we speak about target marketing, it includes identifying the specific category of people to whom the business can deliver services. So CRM is a software which helps us in retaining customers as well as knowing their preferences, and then customization to the maximum. So effective target marketing is one of the major benefits which CRM offers. Customization of products and services. Since the organization gets the entire data of past and future customers, as well as they can evaluate the customer needs and preferences, customization will be the new key in which they can retain their customers in the business. Then improved scope of relationship marketing. So when we talk about relationship marketing, it includes even emotionally influencing the customers. So CRM, since it provides all the entire details as well as the history of customers with regarding to their purchase, etc. So the business can improve their image in front of the customers even through relationship marketing. Then the opportunities of cross-selling. So cross-selling, it means when a customer prefers a product, through the software we get to know about the product. Also, we can suggest them alternative products, or we can suggest them with new products that we have to offer to them. So these are the major benefits which CRM provides to the customers. Then the current issues and the future trends with regarding to the CRM and e-business include internet divide. So internet divide is one of the major issue which as a country we face. Then the cost of implementation. So if we want to implement a CRM into the business, it involves a lot of cost which is behind it. And then brand loyalty. Even after introduction of all these softwares, we are still not sure whether the customers will still remain with the business, because brand loyalty is seen as a very in a very reduced manner in the customers these days. Future trends which can be adopted with the help of CRM includes extensive relationship marketing, as well as implementation or inclusion of market analytics into the software. Then the success of a successful CRM framework includes the following components. The first and the major component is to define the vision and objectives which a business has, or what is the aim that the business aim to achieve through the implementation of CRM. Then the awareness among the top management is highly necessary with regarding to how to implement, what all are the processes that needs to be taken care of, etc. Then whether the business has the capability to integrate the entire system into their business. Then of course employee commitment. The employees needs to be well equipped before the implementation of any new change. That is what the change management strategy is also. So not only during the implementation of the software, but also throughout the transformation stage, the employees also need to be clearly known regarding to the why the software is implemented, and what is the mission and what is the project mission that the organization intend to achieve using the implementation of the software. The results in conclusion: the integration of CRM software into the business become more desirable to customers with the aid of internet application. So right now we have internet availability, and because of which CRM software is a more desirable option which the customer will prefer, because they are getting more customized product from the business. Integration can reduce the cost, increase revenue, and reduce lead time, and improve customer loyalty and retention. So for the business, the introduction of the software can help them in multiple ways for better treatment of their customers. Although the integration of CRM and B2B has many advantages, companies should conduct a feasibility study when considering a CRM B2B model. So not only the companies should think that, okay, just because everyone else implement the software, I also will do it, but they should first go for a feasibility study with regarding to the technology, their ability to adapt to the software, or whether their employees are ready to go with the new change and everything. So then only they should go for the implementation of the software. Otherwise, it will incur or it will lead to a huge loss to the company. The post-implementation process needs to be carefully considered by the management. So not every employee will be comfortable with regarding to the implementation of the software, but the management should take care that the employees are duly considered and duly given training with regarding to the usage of software and with regarding to the integration of software into the business. The change management process need to be designed in order to equip the employees, contribute maximum to the success of CRM software in the business. So the help or the cooperation of employees also needs to be ensured for the complete success of CRM into the business, and for the success of business and for the success of e-business. Thank you so much. These are the references which I have gone through for the papers. Thank you, and I'm open for questions.
Can you tell me within 2 to 3 lines, what is the paper all about?
So the paper is all about understanding the CRM and also the process of implementation of CRM into the business, or the integration of CRM into the business.
So, I mean, what is your main contribution? Any contribution?
So the contribution has been to analyze the impact that a CRM software
CRM
can...
everybody knows, and the e-business part everybody also aware. So
yeah,
anyone can integrate CRM into e-business. So that is not a, I mean, there is nothing as such new. I'm saying that, is it a kind of review how people
it's a review paper, sir. It's a review paper.
Completely review paper.
Yeah,
so
it's a
the
completely
review paper, there is no result. There should not be any result section. Correct. Because there is one slide which is called result and conclusion. So it can
okay,
be.
Sir, it has been the summary of whatever review I have done for the papers.
So the result, summary of the result. So it should be result and discussion. Correct.
Okay, okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Okay, one problem, major problem throughout the slides where I was going through. I don't know is it in the paper or not. Just check one time. There are lots of places where the capitalization is wrongly used. Like within a particular sentence, there are multiple places where there is a sudden capital. So even in the figures also, lots of unnecessary capitalizations are there. So this you please take care. Okay.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. I'll just check through it. Thank you so much for the suggestion, sir.
Thank you.
Now we can invite our next presenter, Solly Joseph.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I'm sharing the screen. Is the screen visible, sir?
Yes, Papa.
Yeah. Good morning, everyone. My name is Solly Joseph, and the title of my paper is Offline Handwritten Character Recognition of ModiScript Using Wavelet Transform and Decision Tree Classifier. The paper is co-authored by Dr. Josie George. The outline of my paper is as follows: introduction, related works, problem definition, proposed methodology, experimental study, results and discussion, conclusion and future work, and the references. Optical character recognition is a branch of pattern recognition and computer vision. And the focus of my research is handwritten character recognition. That's a process of recognizing handwritten text from document images. Character recognition is successfully implemented for various foreign languages. But when it comes to Indian script, it is comparatively difficult due to the complex nature of the script. And also the number of classes in Indian script. The focus of our research is character recognition of one of such Indian script called as ModiScript. ModiScript is an ancient script of India. It's a shorthand form of Devanagari. It was used for writing Marathi in cursive. It was developed in Devagiri in the 12th century, and it was in use till 1950. Difficulty in printing the script led to the downfall, and now ModiScript is not used as an official script for writing Marathi. But it has historical importance, as the majority of documents and correspondence in the state of Maharashtra from 12th century to 20th century was in ModiScript. And they are stored in various parts of the country and also abroad. In addition to Marathi, Urdu, Kannada, Gujarati, Rajasthani, Hindi, Tamil were also written using ModiScript. ModiScript has 46 characters as shown here. It has 36 consonants and 10 vowels. Here I have listed the related works. Actually, very limited work is done towards ModiScript OCR. When I was going through the literature, I could see hardly 13 to 14 researchers who have worked on Modi handwritten character recognition, and I have listed their work here. Here you can see the feature extraction methods used by them, which includes zoning, Zernick moment, and structure similarity and a hybrid method, and also chain code histogram. And classification method used are Euclidean distance, KNN, SVM, and BPNN. Here in the next slide, here the data set is not 46, it is part characters. Here it is 33 character, here it is 22, and here only vowels, and then there are numerals. And the feature extraction method used are chain code and hues and Zernick moments. Classification methods are coherent neural network, forward neural network, etc. And the problem definition is to perform ModiScript character recognition using wavelet transform based feature extraction method. And I will be doing a performance comparison between 3 different mother wavelets such as Debash's, Haar, and Simlet. And decision tree classifier is used for classification. As I've already mentioned, wavelet transform for feature extraction. Here, wavelet transform can be used to separate the input signal into detail, that is horizontal, vertical, and diagonal subsignals, and approximate subsignals. And by applying high pass filter and low pass filter on the row and column, we get 4 images. Here we can see the original image, we apply low pass filter and high pass filter, which results into horizontal and horizontal approximate and horizontal detail. And we apply again low pass and high pass filter, and then we get these 4. And my focus will be this approximate image. Wavelet families actually include Haar, Debash's, Simlet, and biorthogonal. In my study, I'll be comparing these 3 mother wavelet, that is Haar, Debash's, and Simlets. The proposed methodology, here we read the training and test data as we can see in this figure, and apply wavelet transform on input image for feature extraction. Here we have depicted here, and store the extracted feature vector for classification, which is subjected to decision tree classifier for character recognition. So this is the proposed methodology. Now, the data set is 4,600 MODI character images, which is divided into 70 to 30 ratio. That is 70 for training, which comes up to 3,220, and 30 for testing, that is 1,380. The experiment is conducted using Intel i7 processor with 16 GB RAM using MATLAB processing environment. And this is the sample input data, which will be then segmented, line segmented and character segmented, which is ready for input. And the image is captured using an optical scanner of 300 dpi. Now, when we look at the result, I have done this with various wavelet filters, that is Debash's, Haar, and Simlet, as we can see here. And the highest accuracy here we get is using Debash's DP2, that is 91.75, and this is the absolute time in second. So from here we conclude that for MODI character recognition, we get better result with DB2, and the time in second is almost similar, except a slight change. But my conclusion is this: the highest accuracy obtained is using Debash's, and that is DB2. And I have not used the 4th category, that is biorthogonal, because when I was doing literature review, I found that these are the ones which is giving good result. So I've compared these 3, and biorthogonal wavelet filter did not give accuracy as good as this. So I deleted that from here. Actually, I had conducted that as well. So the conclusion and future work, wavelet transform feature extraction method and decision tree classifier is implemented for MODI character recognition. The multiple wavelet method used, as I've already mentioned, these three methods. The highest accuracy is 91.75 with Debashi's and decision tree classifier. And so we conclude that Debashi's wavelet family is better compared to Haar Simlet in Modi script character recognition. Now, as a future work, actually right now I'm working on deep learning based method. As again, deep learning based method is not used much, not used at all for Modi script character recognition. As I've already shown, there are hardly 13 or 14 researchers who have worked, and none of them have used deep learning based method. And my current research work is on deep learning based method for Modi character recognition. And also I am focusing on Modi to Marathi transliteration. That is the work which is going on. So this is the final conclusion. And for references, I have done a number of references. Out of that, I have listed some, well, very few. And thank you for your patience listening. If you have any questions, kindly ask.
Yeah, thanks. Can you go to the literature review table?
Yes.
In which order they are arranged?
See, they have arranged.
No, in which order you arranged?
I arranged them based on. I arranged them based on the accuracy.
So it's not arranged based on the accuracy, correct? Is it based on the accuracy? So what
yeah,
is
based
the
on,
accuracy they obtained? Reported accuracy?
Yeah, based on the accuracy.
What is the highest accuracy they obtained? I mean, in reported literature?
94.
So what is your obtained accuracy?
91.7.
Oh, so your is lesser.
Yeah, but my focus was, sir, my focus was to compare the performance as I have given here. So I focused on.
Now, the second question is in Dobashian, DB2. They are basically used for the sound wave.
Yes.
So
but
in handwriting analysis, it should be Haar, because Haar should give better. But here Haar is giving 86%, something.
Yeah. In my experiment,
very surprising that it is DB2 is working very fine for your case.
But in some of the literature work also I have seen DB2 actually Debashi's worked well in when I was checking the image.
Mostly used for the, and which level of the subcomponent you have given? I mean, is it HH1 or is it HH2 or which level? Up to which level you go for the wavelet?
2.
Second level. Second level of Haar.
Second level.
Second level
of Debashi's, yeah.
Okay. So in that case, this Dobashian actually very surprising, because this case I don't know how Dobashian is giving.
Actually, I have conducted this experiment also, and here I have not shown, but with some other.
My last question: why you have chosen this decision tree? Because other people already use KNN support vector. That's why.
Yeah, actually, that is one reason decision tree wasn't experimented.
Because decision tree is a very unstable one. If there is a slight change in the data, the entire tree will be different, and the decision tree will give you different results.
Yeah, maybe that's the reason why I'm getting less accuracy, sir. Because later, now I have experimented with other classifier, and then I'm getting a little better this, like, maybe that's one reason I'm getting less, but then they have not used this. So
very unstable. And handwriting analysis, I mean, there is a lots of cases where there can be unstable data will come. So that tree will be different, and your decision will be. Okay, go to the reference section. I think Umapada Pal said paper is there.
Yes.
I mean, you should go through Umapada Pal. Obidullah is also doing this very nice.
Okay.
Santosh is also working this.
Actually, I have not listed all my references, but then I have done a lot of references.
Umapada Pal having lots of work in this area. So
yes, he's good. Yeah, I have gone through all his papers.
This accuracy is not good. 91% doesn't make any sense to me. Okay. Thank you.
But maybe because of the
choosing of the classifier, because of the choosing of these features and all this.
Yeah, classifiers, because sir, actually I have done another work with another classifier, and I got 99 point something. That is deep learning, which I have not listed here. I've already tried the deep learning, and my accuracy is about 99.5.
Okay.
But that work is not listed here. I have done it with some IEEE conference.
No problem.
Since I have not done that here in this paper, I didn't want to discuss it.
Sure, sure. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, my work is done, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks, sir.
Now we can call our next presenter, Mohammad Abbas Ali Khan.
Richa, how many presentation are left?
So this is last.
Okay, thank you.
Hello, are you hearing me?
Yes, everything is fine. Just make it Zoom.
Okay. Okay. Welcome to my presentations. This is 5th International Conference on Information and Communication Technologies for Communication Studies. This is Jaipur, India. And presenter MD Abbas Ali Khan, the Senior Lecturer, Daffodil International University, Dhaka. And now the title of the presentation is an app-based IoT control remote access security through cryptographic algorithm. Authors MD Abbas Ali Khan from Daffodil International University, and Mohammad Hanif Ali, also he's from Jahangirnagar University, Dhaka, Bangladesh. Hakim Fazul Haq is also a co-author at Daffodil International University. And my another students is from Chandan Debnath from National University, Gazipur, Bangladesh. And two more co-authors, they're also from Daffodil International University. One is MD Ismail Jabiullah and another one is Riazur Rahman. So I'm going to present the abstract, actually the abstract of this paper on app-based remote access control door lock security system. And the system is generated two sites authentication systems. And moreover, for maintaining the integrity and confidentiality of the system, cryptographic technique is applied over here. And now the objective of this paper, a definitive objective of this paper is to ensure the security of an remotely door access control as well as notification of both ends, accessibility, usability, and permissibility of the personnel of the enter the premises. Now, this is the structure of the system. So there is an ESPM, this is a device, and there is a RFID, and ESPM cam, ESPM log system, and there is a display board which is attached with this ESPM, and there is a keyboard attached with this ESPM. And there's a doorbell system. This is first time unauthorized person. Or this is also a Raspberry Pi server. This is connected with this ESPM. And also there's a mobile system. This is because this is app-based system. The application will run through this mobile. So the code will, there are some special code will be generated, and this code will when we register a user, that time the code will be generated, and another new code will be generated when a user will touch his ID card, RFID card, to this device. So there are 7 codes. So when the 7 codes will match, then they will be they are permitted to enter the room. And whenever a newcomer will come for this, that means he is unregistered. So for him, he has to touch the card to the system, and the owner of the room he will receive some message or notification. If he gives permission, then another card will generate it to the display board. So he has to, and there in the display board there are some machine. He has to press the pin. After that, he can enter the premises, and there are some online with the Raspberry Pi server. Online DB, that means database server, this is API user registration. And in here, I said that there are pin code or instruction. That means this I told before, there are 7 pins in here. When a user registered to the system, during the registration period, he will get 4 pins. But when he will come to enter the premises, he has to touch the RFID card to the machine. Instantly, he will receive some pin. But before receiving, there is a message. There are notification message from the machine to the owner will receive, and he will. There are two buttons will apply. Open. One is rejected or permitted. If you push the permitted button, then another 3 bits will receive by the comer. So now this is total 7 bits. So he has to put the 7 bits in the key. After that, the door will be open. So it is remotely accessible. Whenever the room owner will be, he can access. He can give permission to the comer. So either the comer is new or registered user. So flow chart of this system for security purpose. So this is the total system actually. Start remote access control. This is the machine, total machine. This is the system architecture of these machines. So is registered. Yes, he has generated pin. So pin matched, then he is open and the end system. Door will be open, the system will be end. If pin is not matched, more than 3 times he can try. It not matched, so he has to go to the initial stage. Or if he has not matched after 3 times, so he has to generate a pin once again. So one thing, and if he is not registered, that means he's a newcomer, never he came before. So press the doorbell and notification. This notification will be received by the room owner and give a access permission. So then he has to, when he receives this permission, some pin will generate. So he has to push the pin to the machine. After that, the door will be open. Otherwise, if he is not permitted, then it will be, he will receive, you are not permitted, or you will come later. Such type of message he will be received. And after that, flowchart of time count and assigned tasks. Actually, this team I have designed because I have another intention to do this research. Because whenever a user will come, say for example, if you set up this machine in an office of a boss, so as a user, as a worker, I go to his room. But whenever I go, I'm telling this one. There are some, I'm coming it back later. There are some special things. This is user interface, and this is Mac app system structure. This is login, forget login, main menu. The main menu, there is a task list, pin code, notification, submit, done, and reject. The task list means of which purpose the comer is coming to the
Presenter,
owner.
you have last 2 minutes. Please conclude your presentation.
Okay, so the comer who is coming, he has to mention why he is coming. So this is a task list. All the tasks are here. So he has to press the task list. After that, the time will count. So the task list will press, and the done button after task list. That there is the owner of the room. He receive a message, and the done button will be pressed. After the door will open, and the time will be calculated. So that's why I'm saying it. The start and the punch card, and this permitted admin, yes, enter the room, task assigned, and the clock will start, and it will calculate the time, how long times he has to finish the task, like 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, or 1 day, 2 day. So the task is assigned. If it's done, okay, it's done successfully, then submit the button and done button, then exit. So otherwise, partially, if he completes the work partially, then partially he has to submit the partial button, submit, and then that will be exist. Actually, this is the flowchart of task assigned and completing and time count system. And this process is different. He has to allow to the room or not. So this is 2 different things. Okay, and this is the user interface, what I have seen before. And there are two algorithms I assigned for cryptographic AES, and another one is SHA 512. So for security purpose. So, and one more thing, and he is not permitted to enter the room, and he is not the owner of the room, owner of the person is not engaged to do the task. He has to press the reject button. Then he is also reject to enter the room, and also the task is rejected. And now this is results, final results. So I found 3 results. They entered the permission, no need both side permission. So we need both side permissions, room owner and the comer. And another one of the room can control remotely wherever he is. He can control his access system, this access system. And one more thing, so we can calculate the job finishing time. When he is starting his job and when he will be finished, the system will automatically calculate this one. So thank you all. That's all from my sides and for passion sharing. If you have any questions, please make me questions.
Can you go to the very first slide, please?
Very first slide. This one?
No, not first slide, second slide.
This one?
Second slide, very second slide.
Oh, okay. Actually,
do you think is it cryptography algorithm or is it cryptographic algorithm in the title?
Oh, actually,
actually now ওটা ঠিক cryptography কি হবে ঠিক আছে কেন cryptography algorithm হবে না
I'm agree with you, but sir, but I have seen many places like this, but I was confused when I do this one. Which one is a cryptographic or cryptography? Why they are using this one?
Cryptography algorithm is something. Once you are using some cryptography, it should be cryptographic algorithms. So just check one time, huh? So
okay,
this is
okay,
one.
thank you.
Second thing is this capitalization. You just one time check. It's not all capital. If you written in the paper all capital, then might be you have to make it capitalized. Means the first the letter should be the word should be the capital, except the conjunctions. Okay.
Okay, thank you. In the paper, actually, it is like this. What you said.
Okay. Okay, no problem. That is fine. So last thing is, have you implemented these things?
No, actually, I didn't have implemented, but I submit this project to my university. They already funded me for to complete this one.
Okay, thank you.
Inshallah, hopefully we'll do this one. Inshallah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you so much.
So I'm done, Richard?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And I sincerely thank our researcher for the excellent presentation in this technical session. And thank you to all the participants for being a part of this international conference. I hope this session was very informative and knowledgeable as well. All the presenter would be their digital certificate payment receipt thank you letter through 1 working day. Further, all the papers have already forwarded to the Springer for publication process. The publication will be live within 4 to 5 months. Kindly cooperate with the team of ICTCS 2020. Now, I sincerely would like to give a warm regards to our session chair, Dr. Nilanjan De, for chairing this session. Thank you so much, sir, for your valuable time and presence.
Thank you very much.
Now, I would like to invite our conference secretary, Mr. Aman Barot, for closing remarks.
Thank you to dear all participants. We have already forwarded all papers for the Springer publication. Once again, thank you to Dr. De for your valuable times. Thank you. I request once again to all the participants, if possible, for the glimpse of ICTCS, can you please turn on your camera? So the conference co-secretary will take a snap of the same for the memories. For next 10 seconds, if possible, can you turn on your camera? Richa, can you please go ahead with the 3, 2, 1 and click the camera?
Done.
Thank you all the participants. Now furthermore, by Monday or Tuesday, you will get your certificates, and within 1 week, all the recordings and everything will be available on the ICTCS website. So once again, thank you. Thank you, Dr. De. Looking forward to closing the session, Richa.
Thank you. Thank you very much.